Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason. I am your watch guy today. Today we have some AliExpress goodness in. Now this watch is my favorite AliExpress watch from 2021. It's my favorite that I bought from them, and that's probably because of the complication that it has and the price that I paid more specifically. This is what I've been calling the Aesop Starry Night Tourbillon. It's absolutely gorgeous. You all probably saw the unboxing that I did of this, and honestly, when I was that excited in the unboxing, I was hoping that this wouldn't let me down in the actual review or the review stage, and it really hasn't. It's absolutely fantastic. You may have also seen that JOMW from Just One More Watch also unboxed one of these recently, so they are obviously going to become very popular. My link is in the description. That is an affiliate link. If you use that, I get a little bit of a kickback, and I'm very grateful for that. It really does help the channel. With all that out of the way, let me turn this camera around and let's get into this review. So guys, this is the Aesop Tourbillon. I've been referring to this as the Starry Sky, just because of that absolutely beautiful aventurine dial. It sparkles so nicely in that light. It's absolutely gorgeous. Well, firstly, we're going to talk about the movement. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't track down the actual name of this movement. It is a tourbillon movement. It has some really lovely markings on the back. Really nice decoration to this movement. Probably, I say probably, definitely machine engraved, but still gorgeous all the same with that twirl type of design. I can't find the exact movement, but I can find the specifications for this movement. So it's a 28,800 beats per hour movement, so high beat frequency. We have a 40-hour power reserve, which is very suitable, and it is a plus to minus 10 second per day movement, and I can testify to that. My runs are minus 8 seconds per day. Now I am quickly going to touch upon this tourbillon complication, or what one is, just to give you a little bit of an insight. A lot of people will explain this better than I do, so if you really want to know more about it, then maybe pop over to another channel. I'm not the best at explaining this type of stuff, but I'll give it a go. So the tourbillon was built as a regulating device invented by Louis Bougie, I think his name was, Bougie, something like that, in 1795. Obviously that's way before watches, so this was actually used in pocket watches or clocks to regulate time better, to correct the errors caused by gravity. As time moved on, this was pretty much obsolete when we come into the modern day of watchmaking, but it is the sort of exclusive and high-end complication that you'll find in a watch. It was for me one of those unreachable, unattainable type of things. Obviously, the first Swiss one you will come across, as I've said a few times before, you're looking way over 10 grand. And unfortunately, I just don't have that type of money to burn into a watch. However, at a very much more reasonable £240, this is a really good option. And I would encourage anyone who's been interested in a tourbillon before to go and look on AliExpress, because there's plenty of other options also. And they all fall between the 200 and 400 type of price range. So they're all actually quite affordable, which I think is something that a lot of people should consider for their collections. I think everyone should have a tourbillon in their collection at that price. It's just absolutely incredible. And on this, you just get lost with it. This is one of those watches that aren't really for time telling anymore. This is a piece of art on my wrist. This is something to start conversations with, to express myself with. I just think that this is beyond the watch at this point. But let's talk about it as if it is a watch for a little longer. So it's 42.5 millimeters in diameter. It is a tiny 10.8 millimeters thick. It is 50.3 millimeters lug to lug, and these lugs are 22 millimeters. So a pretty universal size, and you can find many a band to fit this. We have a very ornate, almost onion style crown over to this side here. It is not screwed down, it is just a hand winding mechanism. Now this actually stops you from winding when you get to a certain point, or you feel a very high level of resistance, and that's when you know that it's fully wound. Obviously, there is only one setting on this one, and that is for the minute and hour hand. Now, as we talk about the casing, this is covered in a PVD coating, which gives it this black appearance. These do also come in a sort of rose gold colour and a stainless steel. Personally, I thought that the black just really did something different for me. It stood out. It really stood out. It accented the watch very well. It gave all the attention to that dial and that complication. As we move to the back of this watch, you can see this very decorative movement in the back. Again, I don't know the name of this movement, so if anyone can enlighten me to that, I'd be very grateful. However, it does look very decorative. It looks the part. And this is a screw down case back also. As you can see, everything on this watch has been done to keep it to a very thin stature. There's no space wasted inside this casing. There's no space wasted in the back, and it makes it almost to that dress watch type of sizing, which is a very comfortable piece for people to wear at many different occasions. This would perfectly accent a dress type of occasion, a wedding, a birthday, some sort of suit type of occasion. I think this one is perfect for it. Now, this crystal is a synthetic sapphire crystal, which I would expect at this price point. I wouldn't expect any sort of mineral in this one when you've got a tourbillon function in it. I just think that would be the most ridiculous thing ever. It'd be like putting a 1.2 litre engine into a Ferrari. Now, as we move past this sapphire crystal, we move on to this absolutely amazing dial. You can see why I call it the Starry Night. It's just absolutely fantastic. As we can see, the solar system imprinted on a section of the dial here. You can see the sun and a few planets orbiting, a few constellations over here. And the aventurine dial really does accent that very well as I move around to catch the light. It's absolutely gorgeous. Aside from that, we have double applied batons at the 12 o'clock with single batons throughout the rest of the hours. We have a minute track on the outer edge with the every 5-minute interval marked with numerals at the edge. Very subtly done. Obviously, everything on this watch is done to not take away from this dial and this tourbillon movement. It is to add to the style of the watch subtly, in my mind. We have the Aesop logo up here at 12 o'clock in a pale blue. Down here at the 6 o'clock, we obviously have this amazing tourbillon movement. I can't get past that. It's just absolutely gorgeous. When I wear this in work, I just find myself staring at it and staring at it, just watching time go by. It's just absolutely fantastic. The one thing you'll notice about this watch is it doesn't have a second hand. I think that really does aid in the simplicity of the rest of the dial. We only have this minute and hour hand on here. They're in a very antique sort of style with a slight centre of lume. So let's turn the lights off and see how that lume does. Just give this a little blast with the torch. As you can see, it really does reflect very nicely on that dial, doesn't it? That UV light, absolutely gorgeous. I just can't get over that dial. It's just absolutely beautiful. Okay, so that's better. Two very slim lines of lume. However, the indices aren't lumed, so that's a bit of a difficulty to tell the actual time with the lume. In low light situations, obviously, you're basically just guessing at where these hands are on that dial or where they sit themselves. Yeah, that's a confusing one for me. Now, as we move past this absolutely amazing watch, we move on to this band. Now, this is a leather band, or at least the first layer is leather. That's what it says on the listing. It is a black accent leather on this one. We have a butterfly clasp, is also PVD coated. We have two keepers on this one now. I'm going to be very, very honest here. This band's crap. It's absolutely atrocious. I am going to swap this out. I'm probably going to do a little video with some bands that I've got the option of. Yeah, a company have sent me a couple of bands to do a video on, so I think that this is going to be one of the watches that I switch up, because this is not good. It doesn't feel very nice on wrist. It feels really cheap, which is weird, because then you look at the actual watch and it makes you feel like $1 million. So let's pop this on wrist. Before we get to the moan section, I will have a couple of moans to bring you, unfortunately. But as you'd probably expect, at £240 for a Tourbillon watch, you're going to have to make some compromises. Here we go. Here's the Aesop on wrist. As you can see, it looks just as pretty on wrist as it does off. As I say, that band is not something to write home about. The keeper's loose as hell, so it doesn't do anything. It feels tacky, feels very bad. So yeah, that will be getting swapped. I won't keep it on this, but for the purpose of the review, I need to show you what it comes on really. But yeah, definitely going to swap that out. Which begins my moan section. This band is absolutely atrocious. I just wish that they'd put something slightly better on here. Yeah, it's not good. And I don't really think that I need to say any more on it. It's just bad. It's a bad band. Aside from that, one of my other moans is that this lume on the handset is a little bit weird. I don't really see the point in it. Personally, I'd have just used stainless steel hands and left it at that. I wouldn't have put any lume on it at all, because we don't have any lume on the indices. We don't have any lume anywhere else. I think that was something that they've done that they didn't really need to. This watch doesn't need lume. It's not for that type of purpose. You're not going to be using this in low light situations. Now, thirdly, my ultimate moan is that we don't have enough information on this movement. It's great knowing the specifications of it, but really you want to know who makes it, where it's from, stuff like that. It's just the type of thing that you put into investing in a watch or putting your money into a watch. You kind of want to know what's inside of it. It's like I bought a car with an unknown engine. I'm just going to turn it on and go and hope for the best. Fortunately enough, this has performed very well for me as I've had it on wrist. As I say, it's hardly been any sort of deviation. It's a brilliant watch. It's very, very good at what it does, and it looks brilliant on wrist. It moves away from being a watch and into being a piece of absolute wrist art. It's just, that dial is just gorgeous, and that Tourbillon really does just set it all alight. £240 is an absolute steal for this watch. In my opinion, it's the biggest bargain I've picked up on Aliexpress, really. I mean, Tourbillon for £240. I didn't even pay that. I paid 190 in the sale, so even better. Just, yeah, absolutely amazed by this. Now that is the Aesop Tourbillon, the Aesop Starry Night, as I like to call it. I hope that catches on, because that's what that dial is to me. Now, as I said in the introduction, Jody from Just One More Watches actually bought one of these. I saw him unbox it the other day. He's obviously been watching my Instagram and taking notes from the master himself. I mean, he hasn't. He follows me on Instagram though, which is weird. I mean, he's one of the reasons I got into reviewing watches. He was one of the ones that I watched in the beginning, and yeah, absolutely crazy actually. But aside from that little bit of rambling, this is an amazing watch, and for £240, you should all go buy one. You really should. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's something that everyone really needs in their collection. It's something that is beyond watchmaking. I mean, this doesn't actually make the watch any more accurate anymore. That was for pocket watches. Now, it's just a fancy piece of movement to look at. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I don't need it to be functional. I don't need it to actually have a purpose. It's there to look good. It's there to highlight this piece of machinery. These things that we all wear, that we wear on a daily basis, and they make us feel a certain way. And this one makes me feel a certain way, and that way is bloody fancy. Thank you for watching this, guys. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. If you want to buy this, the affiliate link's in the description. I'd be really grateful if you use that. And I hope to see you in the next one.